Right, here we go. One shot, one take, minimal editing, Goodfellas style, right? Like that Steadicam shot in Goodfellas, which I'm sure you guys have seen. Fantastic. Anyway, if you haven't, which I know some of you, I know for a fact, a couple of you have not seen Goodfellas, so I'm going to link that Steadicam shot in the comments, because, man, that's some cinema. So that's what we're going to do here. Long story short, the only reason we're even here at all is I missed the email to not subscribe, not resubscribe to my video editing software. So for an entire another year, I can do this, which is kind of cool. Kind of Big Trouble in Little China. That kind of makes me happy. But other than that, it's really just nothing but a gigantic pain in the ass. So my thought being, if I'm stuck with software to make videos anyway, and I know for a fact I've had, even though I haven't been doing a lot of this, did I mention no cuts, no editing? We're just gonna sort of stream of consciousness today. I haven't been doing a lot of this. At least one of you has reached out to me on a different platform to say, hey dude, what the fuck is up with the car? Oh, hey, speaking of that, are we gonna censor the fucks? Fuck, 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 fuck. Who could tell? I don't even know if we're doing that at the moment. Not like we're making money anyway, who cares? Anyway, at least one of you has reached out to say, what the hell, what's going on with the car? Haven't seen your videos. And I'll be honest, yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt. And I kind of get tired of spending hours dicking around with video editing and trying to make an episode that nobody watches, and that's fine. So I think if we're going to progress here, there's only a few of us anyway. If there's only going to be a few of us, why don't we act as such, huh? Rather than, you know, making here's a show, rather than making a program for you, or trying to make a program for you that nobody watches, because let's be honest, they're not very good. Instead of trying to like make an episode of shit, why don't once in a while we toss on the chesty, we come out here in the shop, we kind of wander around for a few minutes, we do some kind of stream of consciousness, sort of as stuff comes to us sort of discussion. I let you know where we're at. I let you know where I'm going, like what my next steps are going to be. I can fill you in kind of with, you know, fun shorts with the music and stuff, because I like making those, because I'm a 6-year-old and that brings me joy. So I could kind of keep filling in little space that way, but instead of like every 2 weeks trying to like episode 6, why don't we just do it like this? Again, there's probably half a dozen of us anyway that are actually watching and actually give a shit about this car, or are interested in it enough that you'll come back in if I could actually make it a little less fucking boring. So, want to try that? I guess you'll let me know one way or another. I guess I'll have a way to know if this is going to work. So, I don't know, guys, because I just don't want to. That other shit feels so fake. I've gone back and tried to watch a couple of my own things, and it just doesn't feel, I don't know, it feels ish. This feels like I'm trying too damn hard, and I don't want to feel like I'm trying too damn hard. There's no point. Why? Who am I trying for? I'm going to fucking impress you guys? But I do think that this thing is interesting enough that the few of you that are around, I don't know, you might just want to hang out and check it out. And you've been nice to me, so this is, if we can do this in a way that doesn't take me hours and hours to do, like weekly or bi-weekly or whatever, if I can just come out here and wander around and we can bullshit a little bit, I can just, with no, or at least a super minimum of like cleverness and editing, and just toss this up there and we can just kind of hang out. Yeah, that feels, people use the word authentic all the time and it annoys the shit out of me, but it feels more like what I want to get across than making a program, right? You guys want to go watch a program, you want to be talked down to, you want to be not even talked down to, but just like treated in an unserious manner. There's no shortage of places. There's no shortage of stuff here on the platform to find. So let's try this, huh? This is probably already longer than I thought I was going to talk in one go, so maybe I should shut up about what I plan to do, show you where I'm at with the car, and get out of your all hair. Sound good? We can meet up next time? So, the reason I actually want to do this now, I think the last time we even talked at all, I had briefly told you my A-pillar bars. I don't even know if you guys can see where I'm pointing. I'm not even sure if you guys can see that. So let me know if I need to adjust the camera. I'm not going to do it this time and reshoot this. You're out of your mind. But for next time, if there is a next time, and if there's not, I guess it doesn't matter. So I had these A-pillar bars. I say these, there's only one. It's over here in the corner, right? That guy there. So those were coming from this main hoop section here. They came forward like and down like a normal roll cage would do. And they were fine. They were fine. They fit okay. But if I'm honest, fine and okay are not really the words I'm looking for, not the adjectives I'm hoping to describe this car, especially in a spot where you have to sit in the driver's seat and stare. They just didn't fit as well as they could have. They were fine, they were okay, but they didn't fit as well as they could have. So I took them out, and instead of bringing the bars like thus, I just made another hoop that goes that way. And then, I don't know if you can see this, you're on the chesty, so it's kind of hard. I just tied those together, yeah, and then there's one up here, yes. And we have since, I've added that, and those together there. There's that hoop that's behind the firewall. That's tacked in place. I've added these guys here on both sides. Tacked this little guy in place. Long-time viewers will remember this is the piece I bent wrong by accident with the bender the first time, but it got put to use there, so that's cool. And how I got to all of this was I made this part, this tube here, to bolt to the Corvette cradle. These have got a little, I don't know if you can see in there, they've got a little index pin that comes up through there, so I use a little piece of bike tube, drilled a hole, put some bike tubing in there, so this has got a place to line that pin up. Heavy duty 3/4 inch hardware, little feet made out of some 2x2 120. And how I got to all of this from that is that I was about ready to tie this section into this section so I could start making my other mounts and stuff for down here. Sorry, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work. The 4 of you watching it might be very annoyed. But that's kind of how we got here. So the part of this that's going to run from this tube back to here and land back to here where this situation needs to land, because if it's not super apparent, on a C5 Corvette, this part, the lower part, would bolt in, and this part bolts just to the side of the frame rail. So this bolts to the side of the car that I obviously don't have. So I need to fabricate a part to land these, which is going to attach to this section here, which is how we got with all this shit hanging here in space. Okay? Makes sense? Following along? Excellent. So what happened was I started looking at this. I got all my numbers, my caster, my camber, my toe, my distance between these guys here. So that's what this whole jig is sort of set up for, is just to kind of get me an idea of where those upper mounts needed to land. But these weird crossbar things, excuse me, these weird crossbar things, they're in kind of a mushy rubber bushing. They bolt into the side of the car thusly, and then like every other GM alignment situation, you loosen the bolt and put shims down in here. I thought this 2x2 was going to look, I guess I didn't think it was going to look cool. Didn't realize it was going to look that stupid. So that's out. I thought about making some individual little stands, because the point I'm trying to do was to keep it as stock Corvette parts as possible, right? So I can go to the store and get stock C5 Corvette parts if I need to make replacements or any of that stuff. I'm not on like super custom hardware everywhere, at least as much as I can be. So that's what I'm trying to do that for. Why I was trying to do that this way. But the longer I look at it, the less I like that situation with that crossbar. And you start reading the forums and guys talk about, because those have to be soft enough to pass this whole thing through. They're a squishy rubber bushing. You can move them by hand. So what happens is, as you're driving the car in a spirited manner, these guys tend to kind of walk out of here. They twist around a lot. They don't hold your alignment. They're not great. So rather than doing that, what I'm going to do up here, I'm mentioning this because I'm about to take it apart, which makes it harder for you to see, is that instead of this big clunky mess of either this or like 8 individual little blocks that bolt in there and whatever, instead of all that dumb shit, I'm just going to run a tube. These have to sit at whichever one this is, caster? Whichever one this is, I'm sure someone will tell me. Whichever way this is like 6.35 degrees. So these upper control arms actually have to sit at an angle like this. So the tube that comes off there will be angled and down into that connection there. And instead of dicking around with those, I think I'm going to see if I can find a set of these rear inner bushings, because they are the same size, as far as I can tell, as a front urethane bushing replacement. Also, I got replacement urethane bushings. God, I'm bad at this. So we're going to put some urethane bushings in here with a metal bushing of some type in there, whether I have to build it out of tubing or we can get some of those or whatever, to run a 12 mil bolt so that I can up here make a couple of just ears that get an eccentric, because these cars, I don't know if you can see down here, they align with an eccentric, so they've got a bolt with an off-center washer and there's just a slot in there, and as you turn that bolt, it just slides that bolt back and forth. The whole assembly slides back and forth, which is how you set some of your shit. So instead of stacking this all up with washers and shims and shit underneath it to get our alignment and looking like crap, I'm just going to make a couple of ears. I'll probably draw them on the inside of a pizza box, have one of the homies CAD them up for me and have them send cut sent, and then there'll be a cope on one side, they'll be coped on one side for 1 5/8". They'll do one of these things and have a little slot in them. They'll be like the lower eccentrics, and they'll just bolt in, they'll just weld to the tube and they'll just go in that way, and all will be good. In theory, I'll gain some adjustment. It'll be less visually heavy, so it'll look less like shit, which is important on an open-wheeled car. It being functional, yes, is important, but also it's got to not look stupid. So if I wanted it to look stupid, I would have done something different. However, so that's the plan for the front. So the front's going to be apart next time we talk, because I got to build all of this junk and then basically start all over again. I got to bend those 2 tubes and basically start all over. But I know I'd spent way too long screwing with this, but at least I kind of know where I'm at now. So I guess that's good. That's thing the first. So I'm hanging off on this for a minute till I get something else figured out as to where all that stuff's going to land, which brings us to the rear of the vehicle, which before we start tying all this stuff in together, I got to figure out a place to put fuel in this stupid thing. So my thought at the moment, without getting too involved, 5-gallon fuel tank, 5-gallon fuel tank that are tied together in some manner that feed a common fuel pump out to the motor and then return to both tanks, because I got some nice space down there. I was gonna put a 10-gallon round boy, like one of those spun aluminum tanks, behind the seats, but I've done some adjusting on the brackets to make it a bit more comfortable, and subsequently I lost all my space for gas. So we're trying to figure out gas tanks. Oh, seat brackets. I did go to the metal store, get some 2x2 120 wall, because I thought this would be super cool to tie these. I spent a bunch of time jacking these up with 2x4s and stuff, trying to get my height right, and settled on 2 inches from the top of this lower cage tube. Was a really comfy space. So I've got some 2x2 by 120 that goes, there's 2 pieces, there's this one, there's the one back here. Goes all the way across. It's gonna really just tie the room together. It's just gonna do that. And then I'll bring my roll cage tubes, my shoulder bar will come thusly to this bend here, and then my X will come down and actually probably tie right into the face of this. This will be tubed off, and then that will go down into this back section here. So everything will tie together under the seats into that big heavy chunky wall tubing. I tipped the seats back a little bit, so it's like way more comfortable for adult-sized human beings. All right, and I don't know if you guys have ever, I'm 6.5 feet tall and I got a size 13 foot and I'm sitting in this Model A comfortably and I got foot room to spare. So got our cool Drifty Boy wheel. We'll be up here. And actually, for as much cage tubing is in this thing so far, which I know we're nowhere near done, there's a lot more room than in the last Model A I built. And then the last Model A I built, that was a sedan. So we get a bunch more space in this. So I'm excited about that. That's very cool. Yeah. I wonder if you're still recording. Am I still talking? How long has it been? It's been way too long. I didn't think I was going to be able to talk for 10 minutes. And I forgot who I was, obviously. Okay, so we talked about the seats. We talked about the gas tank. Oh, ooh. Sort of change of plan, kind of. I don't think I showed you guys. I made a quick short about it, but I don't think I actually showed you guys the Turbski. And holy crap, you guys, you need to see the Turbski because, whew, makes me feel stuff. So, I decided I had to splurge a little bit. Local turbo from the actual New Mexico company. Sold to through our local New Mexico speed shop. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you. And this was originally going to live in here. I wanted it in all the way inside the hood side. I don't know if you can see that. Let me tip you up a little bit. All the way in the hood side. But the headers get to be a pain in the ass. The heat situation is too much, etc., etc. And then no one can see my bitchin' cool Hellion turbo with my red impeller and all my, right? Like no one can tell. So I changed my mind and I'm going to put this, we're still building headers and doing the whole thing, but this guy's going to sit out here on the side of the car, like the don't worry about the inlet right at the moment. I'm not sure if that's clocked right. I've been moving it around thinking, but the cold side will end up going right through here under this firewall to an air to water intercooler and then around to the throttle body on, can you see on the intake on that side? So it'll just like that. That's my plan. I just wanted you guys to see this thing because my goodness. Billet wheel, ceramic ball bearings, dual T3 inlet, stainless, hot side, 6262, 0.83, 0.83 T3, I believe is the AR on the hot side. So this thing is just bitching and I cannot wait to run it. So very excited about that. I'm gonna build some headers, which will be cool. So buttons, do you think, oh, secondary heat exchanger. I had bought that originally thinking it was going to be the heat exchanger for the air to water, but I don't like I don't like it in that situation. I'm toying with the idea of putting it over here because I have to have a heater bypass hose anyway, and just getting some extra coolant capacity in the system. I thought that would be neat. Let's see, we talked about the front, talked about the seats, talked about the turbo, talked about the seats, talked about the butt, talked about the gas. What do you think, guys? You feel caught up, brushed up to speed, etc., etc.? Oh, this has been the first time that I've hung a front wheel on it, that it actually hangs in place and isn't just like stacked up on a bunch of boxes. Look at the track width. Look at the track width. That's going to be insane. I think these are 66 inches mounting surface to mounting surface. I'm pretty sure there's 71 center of tire to center of tire. I think outside of tire 71. Their C5s are wide and Model A's are not. I think my grill's something like 22 inches wide. So it's going to be a wide boy from this angle, and it's going to be super cool with the Flat Star C6 wheels that are what are they? 18 by 8.5 in the front, and the rears are 19 by 10. Very cool. Very cool looking. I'm stoked. I'm excited that it's coming together as well as it seems to be. I'm not making like, you know, I'm gonna have it built in 30 days. We're not making TV kind of progress, but when it stops being fun, I stop screwing with it and go do something else like more drywall or move a stove or et cetera, et cetera. So I did want to at least catch you guys up, give this, whatever the hell this is, a try. See if either of the Spencer's, Travis's, floppy. There's at least, are there 5 of you? There might be 6. There might even be 7 of you. There might be 7 whole people of you watching this. So anyway, do you like this? Do you want to do this instead of here's some news, right? Of an episode which seems dumb. You want to just hang out rather than like be episoded at. This feels better to me. This is faster. I hope. Anyway, that's my thought. That's where we're at. That's what I'm doing. If we continue doing the boob tube series here, I got to find a way to make it not suck quite as much on both of our ends. So hopefully this will work. And again, if you think this is going to be good, let me know in the comments perhaps, or whatever. I mean, I guess I'll know when nobody watches it. Anyway, yeah, been fun. I really like long hellos and short goodbyes.